Hello, sixth grade. I just wanted to go through the slides that I'm attaching to your post for the day. First of all, if you haven't looked at your post for the day, I think that would probably be helpful. So if you look at your sixth grade post, I just want to let you guys know, reminder, EQ 13 over populations is due. I'm going to be talking about populations some more in this screencast, so it might be beneficial to you to listen. Your biome games, if you're not finished with them yet, take advantage of time today to work on them. You are my class of the week, so hooray, gift of time. If you want to practice playing it with somebody and you don't have anybody in your house to play with, go with a live session with me and we can play online together, so we can figure it out. Sometime before the end of the week, I'm asking that you guys do an outside population study. It says it's really good for us to be outside right now, so I want you to go outside. And so when we do a population study, we're doing population counts, just like scientists do. So you're going to find a square 1 meter by 1 meter area, and I recommend choosing one that you think is going to be filled with life because it makes it more interesting. Under a bunch of rocks and logs or dead and decaying things, maybe you have a compost bin and you want to dig through there. Choose something that you think will be interesting. Then you're just going to examine your area thoroughly. Look under rocks, expose the soil. How many species can you find and how many of each kind of species? So if you find how many species, you'll see what community of biotic organisms you have. And then how many of each kind of species, you're finding the population of each species within your community. And then you'll reflect on your location. Is it a good habitat? Does it provide the needs or lots of biotic organisms? Why? If it didn't have a lot of life, make some hypotheses to why. Okay? I pushed this off till Sunday. I know that some of you are having a hard living situation in the sense that you don't have adults at home, and so I'm not encouraging you to go outside without adults. I also looked at the weather this week, and you might need to wait till the weekend to be able to do this. So I made it due. I'm going to make it due later this week because I just want to make sure you have time. I also know that a lot of people left their BFF packets at school. And so, as promised, I did retype up those notes for you, and they are attached right here, ecosystem notes. And it says a gift to you because I wanted you to know that it's not really an assignment, but it is in the sense that you want to make sure that it's in your drive, and I want you to add pictures and comments. It's a study tool for you to help you succeed with next week's test. Another note that I want you to see is the wild robot. Those of you who are enjoying that story, Mrs. Roschke is taking her time to read each chapter aloud and send that recording. So you can still listen to that read aloud, and I'm just adding them as she sends them to me. Those of you who noticed yesterday that there was a bonus opportunities for a leprechaun trap and the science of hand washing, please note again, bonus opportunity, not required. But if you made a leprechaun trap yesterday anyhow, if I were you, I'd post a diagram of it and turn it in for some bonus points. The science of hand washing is actually just pretty interesting, and you're just doing a quick Flipgrid reflection. So pretty simple bonus opportunities, but again, not required. And I know that some of you are so busy with all of this, so don't feel obligated. Populations, EQ 13, due tonight. So we had a live session yesterday, Monday, and we talked a little bit about populations, but I know not everyone could attend. If you missed it, don't worry. I did post the live session link, so I want to make sure that you guys know that that live session link is posted so you could watch it, okay? But also, I'm going to be attaching these to your page as well, and it says ecosystem balance, a study of populations. So if you look a little bit with me at this web, I ask what would happen if the water became polluted and all those phytoplankton and zooplankton died. Now thinking beyond the ecosystem would collapse, because that's what all our videos tell us, I want you to think sequentially how this would happen. Our phytoplankton, if the water were so polluted that it was cloudy and murky in there, would be the first to die because it can't photosynthesize. The zooplankton also isn't a super strong organism, but if it doesn't have any, if the pollutants came in and killed the zooplankton, then if you look right here, our small fish and our benthic invertebrates have literally run out of food source. So benthic invertebrates, those are those really fun water creatures that we like to catch when we go creek stomping, okay? If those are gone, then any of our larger things that rely on those, like our ducks that we love to see in healthy water systems, no longer have a food source. If our small fish don't have anything to feed upon, then our birds and our larger fish don't have anything to feed upon. So as you can see, it's not just ecosystem collapse, it's this sequential events. Also, please notice there are still some things that would stay alive because we have some vegetation. Now, if our water's so polluted that our phytoplankton is dying, our vegetation may not be able to survive, but let's say that it does. So there are pieces of the ecosystem that's still going on, but our biodiversity has greatly decreased. Biodiversity, big word just to say the variety of life that we have. Looking at the other end of the ecosystem, what would happen if small amounts of pollution in the water led to biomagnification of that toxin in large birds that eat a lot of fish, and the large predators, such as the osprey and the bald eagle, died? This has happened in our world's history. Multiple times, actually. But sometimes people use toxins that we don't realize are going to have a lot of negative effects. For example, DDT in the past. And DDT in the past, we used it as a pesticide and sprayed it everywhere. And of course, then when it rained, think of that water cycle, we know evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff to collection, right? Okay, well, think about that. All of that DDT is going to run off with the water and collect in our big water sources. Luckily, it was in such small amounts, it didn't affect any of these tiny organisms, and not even our bigger organisms. However, if each fish that is eaten by an osprey or a bald eagle has some of this DDT in it, that big word biomagnification simply means that it gets a little DDT, and then a little more, and then a little more, and then a little more, and before you know it, it has magnified to detrimental amounts inside of our large predators. And the way this affected our bald eagles was it softened their eggshells, so most of their babies were dying, which is why we had our bald eagles enter an endangered species list. We figured it out, we fixed it, hooray, one for humans, we did something really good there. But when we removed large predators from our water systems, it really messed things up because it doesn't seem like it would, but then we have all of our large fish that are no longer getting eaten because the only things that could eat them were the large predators. So then our large fish take over and we have large fish, large fish, large fish. And before you know it, all those small fish are getting eaten by those largemouth bass. Okay, well that's a problem because now we don't have our small fish to keep our zooplankton and our other invertebrates in balance. And so actually removing a large predator from an ecosystem greatly threw off the health of our water ecosystem, which baffled people at first because turns out these things don't live in the water. So even though it seems like they're separate organisms, that web of life keeps them connected, and when the population gets out of balance for them, it really affects the population balance of everything else. We talked about these words in our live session. I don't want to talk about them all with you again because I know you guys are capable of reading, but hopefully they help you clarify some of that vocabulary that we talked about and we need to use for population studies. And then we talked a little bit about what affects populations. So the biotic factors, like we just talked about, living things affect population capacity. Too many predators equals too much competition. And then we lose all of our smaller, our things that are on the bigger end of our trophic levels, okay? So our primary consumers start to disappear if we have too many predators. Too few predators, then we have too many herbivores in the end, and we lose all of our plants. And as we've talked about, we know we need plants to survive. Abiotic factors, water, soil, and air. If we pollute our abiotic factors, it affects the ability for most of our species to live, including humans, right? We need good abiotic factors. Also, if we have limited resources, such as water and topsoil, this affects population capacity. Okay, so times of drought really affects population capacity. Ecosystem balance is when we have sustainable populations of each species within our ecosystem communities. So let's think about that. Let's keep things sustainable. All right, so there's your little lesson for today. If you need to meet with me, please check in at the live session between 9:30 and 10:30. Otherwise, I hope things are going well, and I look forward to seeing your games. Have a great day. Bye.